been approved? Or did I unknowingly avoid that lesson by using my own money? You
Yeah,
know,
that's so interesting. That's so interesting.
Welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, a podcast hosted by me, Natalie Torres-Haddad, an international award-winning author, two-time TEDx speaker, and investor, along with Vera Egley, an investor, sales and marketing pro, and multi-language podcaster. We will share the tips and tricks from interviews with self-made entrepreneurs, leaders, and those who have attained financial freedom while learning financial literacy in multiple languages.
I think about that because my husband is Swiss, and when we go to the bank, right away they're like, "Oh, you're from Switzerland," and he looks white, right? So they talk to him, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm the one that handles the finances in the house, like talk to me." Like he's just like, "Talk to my wife." Like we have a partnership in that sense, but he's just like he doesn't like admin work, but right away they navigate towards him. And again, he's a man and he happens to be white as far as like, the general person is concerned. So that is a really interesting thing, like whether it's a lesson you didn't learn because, it wasn't, you weren't exposed to it. But just, a last question in terms of mentorship that you mentioned earlier. Is it something that you now openly do? If a woman comes, like if a person in the field comes to you and says, I would love to have some guidance. Are you currently actively doing that? Are you open to it? And do you also give them guidance outside of the career in terms of like their finances as well, if you are already actively doing that?
so I do more so, yes, to answer your question, I do openly provide mentorship for people. Do I proactively seek someone to mentor? No, not necessarily. I kind of want someone to have the initiative, right? To do that. Or if I see someone with a lot of potential, but they need to like meet me halfway. Because I've learned that lesson too. Like I can give all the mentorship to someone who has a lot of potential, but they just don't grab it. It's a waste of time,
Mhm.
right? On my end, if they don't want it for themselves. But I am open to that. I do provide them like career, financial aspects. Sometimes they ask questions in regards to like student loans, um, or just diversification of finances. But I think the biggest thing that I've gotten questions on in regards to finances and what regards to mentorship, especially for those who are graduating college, and they're like, okay, what should be my base salary, or what should you should do? And
Yeah.
coming out of college, I was like, they gave me the offer. I was like, okay. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me I could negotiate it and I could ask for more.
Same.
Had no idea. And I've learned that lesson multiple times in different aspects. At first it was salary. Another time was bonus. Another time like, oh, I can negotiate. Oh, I may not be able to get my bonus that I wanted, but I can negotiate my additional vacation days or other compensation. Like everything is negotiable. And I think that that's the biggest thing that like what as close as finances like is beyond that, because the indirect costs that you're going to incur by the contributions of 401k or your health package, or it all chips away at the bottom line that you're going to get each month or each week in your paycheck. So that for me was a lesson. Like I had no idea. Like PTO vacation days, I can negotiate that. I mean that, like holidays, like certain people rather
Yeah.
like
But they don't teach us that, right?
yeah, yeah,
We're not exposed
not
to
at
it.
all, not at all. And I think that that's one of the hardest things, like to grasp, and also, lack of awareness. And when young women come to me, it's like, what? Oh, I'm looking at these two companies. I had a couple of engineers and young professionals, up and coming professionals, come to me. It's like, I have these two offers. They're great. Where would I go? It's like, well, this person is only offering you this. This other person's offering you this. You got to look at the complete package. That's when I start like take a step back and see like what is the long-term goal for your finances. Like if it's really just to get as much money up front, then go with this.
Yeah.
And that's where I normally provide guidance there. But it's growth, career opportunities, opening the doors. Even if I can't do it, connecting them with someone else who could, right?
Mhm.
But Natalie, you mentioned something about being the first one and take it. It's funny you mentioned that. In my 20s, I knew I was a woman I was an architect going into construction, which was a rarity. And then when I was in construction, I knew I was a woman in construction. I was not aware there was such a big deal being a Latina in construction or design. And the lack of awareness, naiveness, is what really opened my eyes in my 40s. Like now going in my late 30s and 40s for me, because younger women now who, we may have paved the way or started it, they are looking for that more. And I didn't know it was a big deal or it was needed. And that's the reason why I reached out to you about this. Like I thought this was a great idea, but it was because of that. It's like I was like, well, so what? I'm Latina. Like, what do I have to offer? I had no idea,
Mm-hmm.
because along the way of my career, the tokenism or checking off the box, so to speak, changed and evolved through my career. And the importance of it was like accentuated for a very long time. It was like I didn't know what was the big deal out of it.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir. Someone that's hearing it, whether they happen to be a man, they probably might be the one in their group that is just themselves, right? And it's true. It's kind of
Yeah.
you start to realize it could be, the awareness is great, but it also can bring some of that the loneliness that comes with it, because you start to look around, and that happens to me all the time, especially when I'm traveling across the country and I walk into spaces that nobody looks like me. And you have those moments where you're like, when should I be here? Is this, the imposter syndrome
Yeah.
starts to kick in? Am I worthy of this?
Well, I've been
But
in conference rooms
yeah,
where like I'm the only female at the table.
yeah. See,
And
and
not
that's
only not only am I the only female, I may be one of two minorities.
right.
And
Exactly.
when
So you get into the smaller even pool, right? Because you
yeah, and
represent
when
all
the
these three
higher
different
you go
areas.
up, the smaller the pool.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right
Yep.
now, like I've been now in multiple companies in different scenarios. I am the only female in my certain role, in my
Wow.
certain like
Wow.
area.
And
And it's a huge difference.
Wow. It's
And
funny that you say that. It's because it's a reality for so many people. And when you really sit back and look around, you're like, oh my God, really? I'm the only one. Okay.
yeah, and it's that like magnifying glass that causes me to reflect like, oh gosh, like it is a big deal. It is something that
Yeah.
I should be aware of. And I've looking back at my career, my evolvement of my career, I think back of some things. Like I've heard a lot of different stereotypes of me, like asking, like, you don't have an accent, you speak great. Like, well, thank you. I'm articulate. Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you.
Or like when they, but now like I was very, very hesitant of changing my last name, like for my married name, because my middle name is Marie. So I have a French name, Bernadette Marie McDermott. And I didn't want to erase my Latinahood. It just wasn't something I wanted to
Mhm.
do. And I really was very that if anything there was a debate of in my entire in between my husband and I, that was that. It lasted for like a good solid 2 or 3 years. And really the reason why I ended up adding my name in was more for my son, right? Like for the documentation and figuring that out. But it made me very keenly aware of heck, even the fact that my parents just liked the name. I was named after my mom. It wasn't like a cognizant thing. They just liked the name. But uh, there was some privileges that were given to me because I didn't have a traditional like Spanish sounding name other than my last name. And I think that there's some people who accepted me more so because of that, especially in a male dominated, white dominated industry that is construction, that is architecture.
Mhm.
And no matter what industry you tell me, there it's male dominated. You can say
Yeah,
teachers,
because
that's great,
men
but the
still
people who
rule
are
the
in the
world.
superintendent role, like making the decisions, there's certain key factors in that room. And
Yeah.
those things don't get lost on me, and I do pay attention to that. And now that I'm like I said, late 30s, now 40, um, I'm more keenly aware of that. And though I never made a big deal out of it, I never really highlighted. I don't know if I was shy from it or I was never embarrassed, but it just never. I tried to be neutral about it. I realized I can't be neutral. I don't want to be neutral. There's other people who need support and help or someone to look up to or someone to talk to. that for me, erasing that was something I didn't want to do.
I love that. I think that's what's so powerful about this podcast too, is the fact that you're talking about how empowering can be to keep our names, right? I did the same thing, and it's just kind of that, because of the representation not only matters, but it kind of validates where we come from as well. It's kind of like we're not erasing either one, we're accepting both cultures, and obviously you're passing that on to the next generation. Hearing your story is obviously not only inspiring for me because I personally know you, but I know those that are listening are feeling the same way, whether they're thinking, oh, I should make that change in the career, or I should ask for more. I should, figure out how I negotiate this, because sometimes it's just those little changes that can bring you, obviously, the financial gains from it, but it helps you feel more confident in what you're doing. And it's obviously with time as well as the expertise that you brought. So we're excited to have you, and hopefully we can have you again, because this is going to have to be a two-parter, because there's just so much information that we want our listeners to be able to have. But before we go, so that our very last question, actually it's a two-parter. How people can find you, right? Whether your social media handle, because there might be some people on Mentor, or they just want to give you a shout out because you're amazing. But also, what is one book that or it could be a podcast or some kind of recommendation of a resource that has helped you, whether it could be in your career or something along money.
Okay. So the best way to get a hold of me is LinkedIn. Just look for Bernadette Reyes McDermott or Bernadette McDermott. I will pop up on LinkedIn, because my Facebook is for close friends and Instagram is for more for me to like follow and try to learn some stuff from other people and also for close friends. So, but for publicly, I use LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the best way to get a hold of me. I do respond, hopefully within 48 hours of people. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. And when it comes to finances and books, there's this old book, and I know it's a common book, but I remember reading this when it first came out, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep,
I read that because it was that was the concept of that was just so foreign to me that when I read it, I was like, okay, cool. And at the time, my college boyfriend was reading it. It's like, oh yeah, this is a great book. I'm like, sure, I'll read this. This is
had just come out too. We read it when it just came out in the late 90s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I think that was like one book that caught my attention. But like fast forward, there's another book that I read more, but it's not necessarily on finances, but it's more leadership. And I think the way I look at finances now is like, how do you lead your teams? How do you lead your life? How do you lead for success? And obviously, like all the other aspects will fall into place. And I think it's more of a mindset shift. And what I liked was this book called, I'm pulling it up, called The Power of Playing Offense.
Ooh, definitely. We'll put that in the show notes. Okay.
Yeah, The Power of Playing Offense by Paul Epstein. He's a friend of mine who happened to go to USC, but I didn't meet him until I was recruiting him to go to the University of Michigan MBA program, and we've stayed in touch and we've had mutual friends. And it's a really good book because it's a change of mindset of your life, of the power of positivity. How do you influence others? How do you start your day? You're successful in your career. What do you do? I mean, because the finances, it is a very important thing, but everything else is it may be the root that impacts everything else too, and vice versa. I mean, I can't tell you how many times like my decisions were made because of finances, and it's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. But that one is definitely it's a mind change shift. So I liked it. It's a good book.
Oh, well, thank you so much for those 2 nuggets, and actually all the nuggets you gave us today. I know a lot of people are going to walk away with some great things that they can start implementing now. We hope to have you again. Thank you for those that are listening. If you have any questions too, maybe you want to dive more into her industry or just find out what it is that you want on the next podcast, stay tuned for the Spanish version of this. So it was great talking to you, Bernadette, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, and please make sure to subscribe and leave your comments and reviews. To learn more about the podcast, check out the website and Instagram, Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, and watch interviews on YouTube and IGTV. To become a sponsor or hire us for your next workshop or speaking engagement, please visit financiallysavvyin20minutes.com. All it takes is 20 minutes daily to become financially savvy. Music by Nikki and produced by Robert DeLude.